Welcome to the Lapis Guides Introduction to QGIS Tutorials. Today in Module 3, we're going to be moving on from what we did last time in Module 2, which was create a simple query, modify our data set to show us only administrative capitals. Today what we want to do is we want to choose all of the cities and towns that are available in the data set for a specific country and do what's called rule-based queries, where we can change the style of the points depending on different equations that we create. So that we have a large enough data set to work with, I'm going to choose one of the larger countries that has a lot of cities in it. All right, so let's work with India today. So we're going to go up to our attribute table. We're going to use the select features using an expression button, which is also available on the top bar up here for faster use. So we're going to go to fields and values. I'm going to select SOV0 name equals. We're going to list all unique, and we can always search for India. There we go. I'm going to select those features, close this window, and we can see that all of the places in India that are in our data set are selected. Now, obviously, we still have all of this other data that we have to deal with. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a new file using just this data. We can do that by right-clicking that layer. We can select Export, Save Feature As. All right. We want to save this as something like India cities. Right, you don't have to choose India, you can choose any other country, but try to make sure that it has quite a lot of cities in that country. Right? But the most important thing here is we need to choose this box, save only selected features. If we don't do that, we're just going to make a copy of our original file, which is not what we want. We only want those data points that were selected. Right? We're going to make sure that box is checked, click OK. Right, there we go. Now let's hide this one, and now we're left with just the cities from India. Great. So now that we have the data for just India on our map, let's go ahead and have a look at it in our attribute table. And let's slide over to population. Okay, and let's do this by largest to smallest. So our largest is almost 19 million, and our smallest is just over 10,000. All right, and I want to create a map that basically shows the different sizes of populations of cities or settlements throughout India with different data points. So maybe that might be size, might be color, might be shape. That's up to you to choose how you want to show the difference between them. But basically, I want to be able to show the difference between the populations within India. Right, so we know that we have from just over 10,000 to almost 19 million. Right, so now let's create our rules to be able to change these data sets. Right, so let's go to double click on your India cities layer. We're going to choose rule based. Okay, we've got a default one here with no rule. It's just one that's automatically ready for us to work with. And I'm going to say that this is 10,000 to, let's say, to 100,000 population. And so let's create our equation. So we go fields and values, and that was pop max is greater than 10,000 and pop max is less than 100,000. Okay, let's then change, well, we can actually leave this marker exactly the way that it is. If you wanted to choose different shapes or whatever, that's fine, but I'm just going to leave this marker as a small dot with the default color that it gave me. All right, so let's see what happens. All right, these are the only data sets that match our query. right? All of the rest of them disappear because there's no rule saying what they should look like for them to show up, right? So let's create another one. Go back in, and we'll add a new rule. All right, and this one will be 100 and 1,000 till, let's put it up to 500,000. Right, we'll do the same thing. Fields and values, population max is greater than 100,000, and population max is less than 500,000. Great. So there's our final map. You can change the colors and the shapes and the sizes to whatever you want. And then you can take it into Print Composer and you can add a scale bar and a key that describes each of these different rules that you've created so that people know what they're looking at. All right. And obviously, especially in areas like this, as you zoom in, you see that there are a whole lot more in this region than when you zoom out. You've got a little bit of coverage happening. So there may or may not be some that are hidden. Overall, this is a very simple way to make a map with data that shows multiple different things at the same time based on those rules that you've created. One thing that you can do while you're in QGIS, when you've got all these data points, is we can use our information button here, identify features. What we can do is if we want to see what information there is about this data point, for example, we can see that, and these are all of the attributes in our attribute table. So we can see that the name is Mumbai and an alternate name is Bombay. All right, you can see all the information, you can see the population and all of those things. Right, so our identify feature button allows us to click on different data points and see what that information is actually showing. Hopefully you were able to follow along with this tutorial really easily. Let me know if I missed anything or if you have any questions on how to do some things in this process. And I'll see you in Module 4.